Most couples, when they think about investing or their investment rate, the only investment most couples make together is buying a house.
Yeah. Well, and that's questionably not even an investment.
Most people think renting is wasting money.
Yep.
And the logic goes, well, if my rent is $2,000 a month or £2,000 a month, my mortgage is only going to be £2,000 a month. And we might as well buy a house because then we get to keep the asset.
Are you trying to get me mad right now? I'm starting to sweat just hearing this because you're right. That's what they say. Should I just dismantle these arguments once and for all right now?
Sure.
Okay. Renting is not throwing away money. Just like going to a sushi restaurant is not throwing money away on sushi. You're paying for something, you're getting value. It's fantastic. The next argument they use is you're paying your landlord's mortgage. I go, okay, aren't you paying the sushi owner's mortgage when you go there and get sushi? Funny, we never think about it like that. We only think about paying the landlord's mortgage. Finally, we have to understand that buying a house can be a good financial decision. It can be. But renting and investing the difference can also be a good decision. And right now in the US, in the top 50 US metro cities, it is cheaper to rent than to buy. So let me give you some math. Let's say, because I lived in New York, close by, if the rent was, let's say, $3,000 a month, to own the equivalent property right next door would have been $6,600 a month. That's $3,600 per month more just to own. So most people don't know this. They don't factor in phantom costs like maintenance, taxes, transaction, opportunity cost. They simply look at a number that says 3,600 or whatever the number may be, and they go, great investment. We have got to get more sophisticated with the biggest purchase of our lives.
I'm just looking at some of the comments on our last conversation.
Oh yeah, what'd they say?
It's a balancing act. There's two groups of people here. There's a group of people who attest to the fact that they bought a house and it's the single best thing they did.
Yep.
This person said, I bought a house. It's the best thing I ever did. It's launched my mindset in new directions. Remember that having your own space has profound psychological impacts and can change your life.
That's a good comment. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. I love that comment. We have to remember that life is not just about a spreadsheet. It's not. So when it comes to a major purchase like a house or a car, we got to start with the numbers, okay? We have to start by running a buy versus rent calculation, by running an amortization chart. I have a whole bunch of stuff on buy versus rent. And then we need to know, can we afford it? Is this part of our rich life vision? What if one of us loses our job and on and on and on? But then second, we need to say, what kind of lifestyle do we want? If we love to decorate, that's probably worth something. Maybe we need to buy a house. If we want our kids to be in a particular area, maybe we need to buy. There's so many non-financial reasons to buy or to rent. And so we can't just do one or the other. But my main argument is this: most of us never run the numbers. We will spend $1 million in total cost of ownership for a house, and we won't run one calculation. So we got to play multiple notes doing the financial and non-financial parts.
I think that's what a lot of people are actually saying. A lot of people are saying, I bought a house, and this person's saying, I used to live in a caravan. I finally bought a house, and I don't care about being rich necessarily, but having my own house means the world to me.
Great non-financial reason. They want stability. I totally value that. I would also ask, did you run the numbers?
I think the key thing is most people, when they buy the house, they see it as an investment and they see it as a good investment. I think in part because they don't really know any other way to invest.
Totally right.
So we grow up, we think, okay, the minute you get enough money, the first thing you have to do is buy a house. I mean, there's a real sequence of events in our lives that are given to us, which is go to school, go to college or university or something like that there, get the degree, get the job, buy the house, get married, have the kids.
And then move to Florida, get skin cancer, die.
Oh, retire.
Okay.
Have your pension, die.
We don't have pensions anymore. That was in the 60s. But yes. And actually, that's a pretty good life if you think about it. It's actually a very good life, especially the way that our parents' generation grew up where, they could buy a house on a reasonable salary, one salary, but that doesn't exist right now. Housing is historically expensive. And not through any fault of young people, by the way. There's a lot of this stuff thrown around the media. Young people are buying too much avocado toast. They're always buying the new iPhone. That's not why housing is expensive. Housing is expensive because people who bought their houses in the 60s, 70s, and 80s bought a house, and then systematically prevented everyone else from building more housing. So it's called NIMBYism, not in my backyard. They have allowed almost no housing to be built, particularly in the US. That's why if you only have a limited supply, guess what happens to the price? It goes way up. That's changing slowly. Housing prices will, in certain cities like Austin, even Santa Monica, have come down in certain areas. It's really important to be able to build more housing so that young people, middle-class people, poor people can afford housing. We should not have people unable to afford rent or buying housing. That's a big problem.
So are you saying that the average couple, if they're looking to make a financial return on their joint savings account, they shouldn't invest that money in a house?
I personally would not consider my primary residence to be a great investment because it has massive costs, right? Massive. Maintenance, opportunity cost of that down payment. Let's say you put down 50K or 100K, that could have been invested. It has all kinds of phantom costs. And then you have to stay there until you pay it off, presumably 30 years. Most people don't stay for 30 years. There's some shocking math behind a mortgage. Like most people don't realize that they will be paying more towards their interest than towards principal for 21 years. Let me say that again. Most people, when they take a 30-year mortgage right now with interest rates the way they are, they will be paying more towards interest than they are towards the mortgage in year 1, 2, 5, 10, year 20, until finally year 21, when they are finally paying more towards their mortgage, their principal, rather than interest. So you know that phrase, I don't want to throw money away on rent? We might more aptly say, I don't want to throw money away on interest.
So if I'm in a couple, I'm in a relationship, and me and my partner have managed to save, I don't know, 50K, what is a better use of that 50K to drive a financial return?
Okay, so let's simplify the whole thing. I have a conscious spending plan. I have 4 numbers that couples should be talking about, okay? The first off is your fixed costs. Those should be roughly 50 to 60% of your take-home pay.
And what's a fixed cost?
Fixed costs includes your housing, or that could be rent, mortgage, your utilities, your car payment, any debt payment, anything that is consistent, even groceries that you need to live every single month.
So 50% of my monthly income goes straight to those fixed costs?
Monthly take-home, post-tax.
Post-tax, okay.
Yeah. 50 to 60% is the number you want to be targeting. Right there is the crux of why couples are stressed out about money. It's because they are spending too much on fixed costs. And within that, there's 2 areas they spend too much on. You know what they are? Housing is number 1 because it's so expensive and they don't calculate. Number 2 is cars.